money.
Yeah, me too. I feel great for one particular reason. Last week I spoke to the minister that you replaced, Mr. Zioka Wozing. Particularly, we're talking about the passport, the submission of his diplomatic passport, and asking about the relationship between you two and the how smooth and respectful the turnover was. It seems as if before even at the youth and sports ministry, you people had relationship, before even this whole turnover business.
Oh yes, I've been an ardent lover of sports, and I've been following the game for years. So I know Dizoga, I know a lot of the players. We watch them play, and so yes, I know him.
Yeah, and and I can see you people communicate, and I think you haven't had any challenge with trying to understand what was happening at the ministry, given the relationship you two have.
Well, Varflay, besides maybe having a conversation, but there was a turnover note.
Okay.
And we've been going through the turnover note, and we've been trying to reconcile what is in the turnover note with the entry audit that the internal auditors are undertaking.
Also, there is an audit taking place.
Oh yes, there's an entry audit. We cannot just run into managing the place without knowing what's there.
But you have a turnover note. Why the entry?
Yeah, so you need to reconcile that with what the internal auditors will say. And so that, especially the fixed asset audit is done.
Mm-hmm.
The personnel audit is done, and they're trying to complete the financial audit. And so, it's not all favorable, actually. The fixed asset audit, yes. There were some properties of government, vehicles, motorcycles, based on the audit that were taken away by past employees of the ministry. We were fortunate to retrieve two, and thanks to Minister Peter Bima, Deputy Minister Bima, who finally turned over the car he had.
Just recently?
A few weeks ago. He intimated to us that the car actually was abandoned in Lofa because it broke down.
Okay.
He had to pull it. So we have that car. And there are a number of motorcycles belonging to projects, especially the vocational training projects that were taken away by individuals. They are listed in the internal audit report. And so, yes, and there was one vehicle that remained in the possession of Deputy Minister Isaac Doe, but that vehicle is scrapped right now at the local garage. And so, but beyond that, there are other assets based on the report, and we're going to be listening. We got a communication from the General Service details of these kinds of information, and that they will follow through on that for us. So, personnel audit, very bad. Very bad. Yes.
Last minute of time employment?
Well, yes, there are some, and then I don't know.
The enormity of the challenges, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what determines, for example, non-essential employees. Now, you have these women who, and Lone Star playing tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So Lone Star will play tomorrow, and the stadium is dirty. So these women are the ones who clean the stadium, and they do that every day because you don't want the place to be messed up. But they were laid off. All 80 of them were laid off by December 31.
2023?
2023.
Why?
Well, because they said their contracts expired.
Oh, they are contractors, not employees.
Yes, so we inherited this. But these women are still there. They come every day and they are religiously cleaning up. So we made that. So if you terminated them by the 31st, but you were there up to the 22nd of January, allow them to keep coming. And then we run into that. And the
then you will make a decision.
the people he welcome us, and we go there, and then not knowing some of the welcome is about their welfare and having them placed. And so we have run into that. We've written the civil service agency to look into their matter and rehire them. And then you have people who have jobs but they do not have work.
What do you mean?
But I mean,
okay.
Yeah,
they employ, but
but
do anything.
No work, doing nothing. And you will see them, they will stand all around. And then there are some people who abandon their jobs for months or almost a year or two, but they still be receiving their pay. Only to see, the person finally wrote and said they are not well. All of these kinds of things, and
I know when you met them, it just blew you off.
Yeah, so we're working on it, and we're trying to ensure administratively that things are brought under control. The Deputy Minister for Administration, Minister Henry Yonton, is on top of that, and he's going to ensure that the administrative things will be handled. At the Ministry of Youth and Sports, there are 4 departments. So you have the Department of Administration, we just talked about. Then you have the Department of Youth Development. Now, the Department of Youth Development obviously deals with youth and the development that goes with working with these young people. So you have statutory youth organizations or bodies, for example, that we work with: the LINSU, the FLY, the Mana River Youth Parliament, YMCA. So these are statutory youth organizations, and we work with them closely. There are programs that are geared towards working on the development of these young people and youths. And these programs, some of them we met. They are in collaboration with donor partners. For example, there is one program that is challenging us, and hopefully, I just talked to your outgoing guest, the Deputy Minister for Budget. He said, "Oh, Minister, it is okay now. Your people can come." So there's this at-risk youth project.
Yeah,
it's sponsored by both the government and it should be sponsored by both the UN and the government.
Yeah. It was launched in the previous administration. I know about that.
Yeah, so it's a matching fund initiative. So when they bring $1 million, then government's supposed to bring $1 million. But government actually,
I think defaulted on some of them.
Government has not been remitting.
Yeah, we'll come to some of these main issues, but I just want to know, because when I look at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, right, you have youth and you have sports, but I think the youth component of the ministry overrides the sports component of say, for example, my own analysis and my own reasoning. If you stage a good noise-free, violence-free national county sports meet, that means you really did well with your sports, with the sports component of the ministry. But if you see youth employment, if you see more volunteers, if you see more young people being rescued from the issue of drugs, for example, then you've done well with the youth component of the ministry. Is that fair enough?
So you restrict the whole sports team to county meet? Is that what you just did?
That's what I did.
But you should be joking. The national team, the Lone Star, for example, they play tomorrow, right? They play Djibouti.
Yeah, but the technical arm of that is LFA.
Wait. For you to say, once you successfully host a county meet, then you have handled the sports component, then we have issue, because no, it's not just limited. We have 34 sporting federations that work with. 34. So national county meet may just entertain 2 or 3 disciplines. What happened to the rest? You know that the Amputee Football Association is one of the most successful. The Deaf and Dumb, they are there. The Taekwondo, the Labrador Tennis Federation. Now, I was at the opening ceremonies of the All African Games in Accra. Liberians were there flying our flag, and they won medals. And some of the reasons why I am here this morning would be to amplify the progress that was made by Liberian athletes at the All African Games. Are you aware that a young woman, a young lady called Maya McCall, is the second fastest woman in Africa today?
From Liberia.
From Liberia. She got the silver. The women 4x100 relay track team also won a medal there, a silver medal. The men 4x100 meters relay also won medal there, a bronze medal. The Liberian female boxer, Grace Family, also won a bronze medal. So a good number of Liberians are making strides, and a good number of these federations are also doing very well. So the Ministry of Youth and Sports is not just.
What role do you play in these successes?
Look, the government is supposed to be the one leading all of these initiatives when they represent the country. It is the responsibility of the government. I mean, that's what I saw, and that's what I know. Once they are representing Liberia, the national team, they're going out, it is the government's responsibility. And so they make requests for support through the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and we submit that to the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. It is a problem in terms of remitting what they request for. Number one, the whole African Games that were going on, there was no support from the government because we're still doing this whole budget thing and what have you. So these federations, along with the Liberian National Olympic Committee, for example, had to work with their international partners. And some of them said they had a credit tickets. Like the athletes that came from America, they came because their coach there was the one who spearheaded everything they had to do with their coming and even their going back. So it's been very tough. So if we're going to be serious about sports and developing sports, I just think we need to have a conversation, just as we have initiated with the Department of the Budget, but there's a need to enhance government's contribution towards sports development. Because, I mean, quite frankly, but alongside that, we are proposing that the government on its own may not be able to handle all of these things. Since I sat over there, Varflay, every day, the Paralympic group was just with me. They won 2 medals in North Africa recently. They came to present the medals. All of these federations are there.
But their budgets are contained in the Ministry of Youth and Sports budget, right?
There's nothing like budget for these people. On a serious note, some of them you see.
So how do you give them support?
And so most times the support is not given, and they have to work with either their international partners for support, or if they are fortunate, they get minimum assistance. And that's some of the things we need to be talking about. Because if you have $800,000 for sports, then you know we're joking.
You say 800,000?
Of course, 890,000 or so. Look at the budget.
So in your budget, in the Ministry of Youth and Sports budget, you have something called the sports budget.
Yeah.
Budget there for sports.
Other sports initiative, yes.
Yeah, this one was right when I said the youth component of the ministry opened. I mean,
it's not true. It's still not true. Even the youth component is not really being supported. Our total budget is 1.7 million. You remove personnel, nothing is left. But I'm saying to you that these federations have been doing a lot on their own. What we need to do now, Varflay, and I raised this cabinet and I informed the president about this. We need outside help, maybe through corporate social responsibility or something else. But there's a need for outside help. So the president has agreed, and he's going to set up a special committee that will initiate ideas and strategies to support what government is doing in terms of fundraising for the national teams. I'm sure that will be launched this week.
Mm.
In the absence of getting external support, we will be unable. Let me tell you, the Liberia Djibouti game, home and away, cost 322,000 US plus in terms of the hotel, the tickets, referees, indemnity, the match commissioners,
Stopping and all.
everything that goes with it. 322,000 US. The president has been very concerned about this whole thing that has to do with Lone Star and sports. Today, we are having a meeting with His Excellency the President to discuss some of these things. I'm just saying to you, perhaps it is because of the usual, the budgetary constraints and what have you, but where we've reached, Liberians want to see the national team win. Liberians want to see the national teams win. The AFCON is next year. Our vision is to have the Lone Star represent us at the AFCON, the African Cup of Nations next year. So we cannot be joking about this.
Yeah, no, but when you're seeking partnership, I know you're seeking it for the sports component, but for the youth component of the ministry, you have partners. You have the EU, the European Union. You have other partners.
They have been very marvelous. Let me tell you.
So how many existing partners do you have?
Chief, it depends on the program because the EU is heavily involved in TVET. You know, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, we have also the Department of Technical Vocational Education and Training. That's the whole process of rehabilitation and ensuring sustainability of what is done. So the EU, for example, is heavily supporting our TVET institutions. The Business Development Occupational Health, Occupational Training Center at the SKD complex there. The entire renovation work currently ongoing is the EU using UNIDO to implement that. And also similarly at the Tumutu Vocational Training Center. The EU, through UNIDO, very marvelous. They've been trying in terms of rehabilitation. And not just that, they've also been ensuring that they equip the facilities. Now, in countries where you don't have TVET facilities, the multilateral high schools there, you don't have some TVET program. So they've gone to those schools to strengthen the capacities of those schools. There are challenges that are currently ongoing. For example, Varflay, you go, currently, the multilateral high schools, if you go there, some of the equipment that they have there, very modern equipment, very modern, welding machines, carpentry, all of these are sophisticated, state-of-the-art. Liberians are there being trained. The problem that is now ensuing is, upon completion, they don't have the institutions that have this kind of equipment to work with.
What do you mean?
Where will you find it? Those modern, sophisticated. They don't have it. They can't easily find the job to utilize those machines. That is a challenge. Right now, the Deputy Minister of TVET is working, I'm sure with the Ministry of Education, to see if they can do some mapping of these concessions and other major institutions, whether they have the capacities. Number two, the EU and the EU has been sending out teachers to train them to come and train these young people. Part of what we're hearing is that these teachers have gone, they've been trained, and when they come, they need to get on the government payroll. But some of them are still not on the government payroll, and which is a challenge. And so working
at the end of the day, some of them feel frustrated and leave.
People leave. People have other skills. They have other skills. So if they cannot find what they need to get using this skill, they could leave the classroom to go and find something else to do.
So what are you, Minister of Youth and Sports, doing to avoid getting into that trap? Because I know a friend of mine who was trained in Zambia. He's back. He was complaining about, getting on payroll or getting incentive.
That is the point. And so it's a whole multi-sectoral thing. I know the Ministry of Youth and Sports is involved with TVET. The Education Ministry is also involved. So we're going to have a collaborative meeting to see how that can be handled. But the biggest of all is that the government has resolved, consistent with best practice, to have and entered into legislation a Liberian TVET commission, a commission that's strictly responsible for and that will deal with TVET activities. So as we speak, as part of the
will that bring relief to the ministry?
I think so. So that all of these splinter TVET things from the Ministry of Youth and Sport Education will now just be centralized.
It will be synergized.
You have, synergize it, and then you have the Liberian TVET commission responsible for TVET related activities. Because TVET is no joke. So as part of the 100 days deliverable Varflay, we have resubmitted the draft bill to the office of the president. I know it's been reviewed by the legal people.
It was worked on by whom?
By both the ministries of youth and sport and education previously. And so we know that the president will be submitting it to the legislature. When that is done, you have a centralized TVET operation, the commission responsible for that, and we believe it will also bring some relief.
It said that the ministry cannot handle TVET as part of its
can, but at a minimum level.
Okay.
We are youth and sports. So if we're doing TVET, our MPs will be only for youth. So what about the 50-year-old man who wants to learn, training?
That was smart.
Yeah. So it's good to just bring everything together, and then you have the commission that will now draw up. I know they have a curriculum that they work on, but they will now, just as you have the education commission or something, so they will be responsible now for TVET operation, while our emphasis would be youth development and sports. Yes. So.
I don't know. They did meet your consent or consultation for the budget of the Federation of Liberian Youth to be cut down from 200,000 to 49,000.
Will meet my consent. The thing is,
because at the end of the day, Fla will be blaming you.
We no longer know Fla will not blame you. Fla knows. Since we came, we've had a lot of meetings, and they know that we don't control what happens at the level of the formulation of the budget. In the past, I know the entities used to submit, and then they go and defend it at the Ministry of Finance before going to the legislation. But as it is now, they give you the ceiling is a straight jacket stuff, and it's turned over, and it is done that way. I myself was concerned why that way. So in terms of the priorities, the government decides what the priorities are. Well, I just strongly believe that there's no need for such cut, and there's no need to marginalize the whole youth development component and sports, because those are key areas that will go a long way in bringing relief, especially in terms of the whole rehabilitation drive. You're talking about removing drug users from the streets. All right. We accompanied the health minister at the Youth Agriculture Vocational Training Center. Youth Agriculture Training Center, in Bensonville. There you have a huge complex. It's lying in ruins. Huge facility. The only area that you find human being is the teacher's quarter. So you still have the instructors there, but the facilities now. How can we rehabilitate that place? The intent of that place when it was opened in the 70s was to empower youth and train their capacities in agriculture. How can we reintroduce that such that when these people have gone through the health components, these drug users have gone through the health components and have gone through detoxing and everything, you don't just leave them. You now need to see how you can help them build their productive capacities. So now you
skill impartation.
For sustainability thing. And that's where I would like to come now to the at-risk youth program I talked about that was being piloted, and you say, oh, wait, I still need to talk about
Yeah,
it.
go ahead.
That is a major, major, major initiative. I want to thank the UN system. They've been very supportive. There are 172, 73 students. I know it has increased because some of the students there had babies while they were going through the training. And so those children are now part of our program.
Mm-hmm.
But they are at various private service providers' facilities. So we have some of them at a facility in Burrowville, some of them in Buchanan, the Lutheran Training Institute in Salaye, in Lofa, about 50 of them. So they've gone through the 6 months of training. Now they do the entry urine drug test, and then you have to do the exit urine drug test to confirm that they're now free of the drugs, and then they have gone through the training. The graduation is slated. It should have been the 23rd of February, but we have some challenges. But it's slated in the next few days. We will have the graduation program of these people. That will be a major beginning in jump starting, because these are people who have gone through the training, and part of the whole thing is not just to train them, but to help them to sustain what they learn. So if you did tailoring, for example, Varflay, we need to give you a reintegration package. Maybe a sewing machine, and then you also need to take care of your renter.
So what is the status of that project? Is it that money is there? The UN match up the government?
The fund.
Yeah, was it done?
Well, yes, the UN and then the government reneged on living up.
So what is available now?
So what is available is, what is left with that program is the graduation, which should have been held on February 23, but there was no money, because the graduation is not just you go to the ceremony. Like I said, you need to get the reintegration kits for them based on the discipline they learn. So if they did tailoring, for example, you get a sewing machine so that when they go in the community, they can start doing something. So that whole stuff, the budget was submitted, and like I said, I just got confirmation from the Deputy Minister for Budget that is on course.
Well, I mean, the government side of the bargaining.
Well, no, in terms of the graduation component.
To make funds available for
them to graduate. You can keep them there.
Yeah, but Minister, the bad news is the drug addiction population is growing.
Sure.
It's growing. Sure. Now, if the government is reneging in matching what the partners is bringing, then there's a problem. There's a serious problem.
So we just had,
because the population is not waiting for you.
So we just had a steering committee meeting 3 days ago at the Ministry of Health, where all the donors partners were there. The Deputy Minister for Budget was there. I mean, the government, all of those responsible were there. The LDE and everybody. We are now working on a more robust strategy to ensure that government will live up to its commitment, and the donors will also match that. If that happens, it's going to be. So from that meeting, I could clearly see that everyone in there is expressing commitment. So I want to leave it as such, because the president, in his message a few weeks ago, was clear on this issue of drugs, and getting these young people off the streets and helping to enhance their capacities. So we will be doing everything possible as a member of that committee to ensure that that happens. And so I want us to leave it as such until the steering committee can conclude the strategies, and then we can release it to the press.
Now, let's go back from where we started. I'm concerned. I'm looking at the humanity side of these women who clean up, who you said, I don't know, what's their fate?
So the fate currently lies in the hand of the Civil Service Agency.
But they are contractors.
Yes,
that means internally they've been paid.
They should be paid. No, they were being paid under a supplementary arrangement with the Civil Service Agency.
Oh, okay.
And we inherited them, and that they are ended, their contracts are ended by December 31. But they're still there, and they stay cleaning up brushing
You give me a sense
field
that you don't
around
want
them.
to do away with them.
No, because in my mind, you do away with people who you don't need. But if these people are there, who going to maintain that? It's a huge facility, and they've been doing it. And so, whatever we need to do to ensure that that place, the sanity remains on track, and whatever we need to do to ensure that that place is maintained, we need to do it. That's why we are there. When you go there after a few days of our takeover and you see filth all over that place, you start attributing it to the administration. So we've been assessing. We're not just taking over to get rid of people. We're taking over to reassess and reevaluate the capacities of people and the functions they were carrying out. Like I said, unlike these people we just talked about, who people may think are laymen or they just mere sweepers, and I don't think they are just mere sweepers, but there are a lot of other people who are there, who are employed, who have jobs, but they don't have work.
Let's come to this beach and waterways project. In the last administration, it was protest infested. Have you have an appreciable understanding about that project?
Well, in some way, yes. And the Deputy Minister for Youth Development, Mr. Brian McGill, fortunately, he was there and then got appointed, is on top of that and is in charge. But I'm aware that that program is on the turnover note, ended.
Oh, okay.
It ended and the people were paid off, except for 1 month, which is September last year. I'm told that's what the government owed them. So that program actually ended. And they introduced other programs like the temporary employment for community youth, the TESI program, and that program was ongoing. There are a lot of other small programs that are geared towards
Providing
opportunities for young people.
temporary jobs.
Yes, you got the Youth Connect program. I mean, the facilities is there. They have computers.
But most of these programs were inactive.
Well,
in essence,
they were sort of inactive, but they exist. So what we're trying to do now is to make sure these programs are reactivated. The various youth centers in the counties. Some of the youth centers have some, something to work with. There are others that do not have. So we need to work to ensure that the youth centers remain very active, and that's where the collaboration with the Federal Regional Liberian Youth and the Liberian National Student Union will come in. And also, there's the cadet program. And the most recent phase has been launched in a few days' time with support from the UNDP. And so about 144 or so students will be benefiting from the cadet program. The cadet program is intended to place, especially potential graduates from the universities at these various institutions so that they can learn how to do office management, office work, so that by the time they graduate, they can be fully prepared. Some institutions do take them based on the skills that they carry there. So that program is going to kick off, and the UN is going to provide the stipend for them. We'll pay them for the 3 months, $200 monthly.
I think the partners are willing to invest, right?
Heavily, they're willing. I think they just wanted to see our own seriousness as a government, and which they have seen, because the president has provided the kind of leadership. And so when you call the donor partners now, they're willing to come and sit with you. But they want to see the commitment seriousness from us. So if they say it's a matching fund thing, you bring $100 and I bring 100, they want to see the government $100 so that they can see that the government is demonstrating seriousness. And that's where our challenge is. And we've been trying to work with the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning to ensure that these commitments are satisfied.
A full functioning of all these programs, first of all, when do we see, all these youth programs booming, young people getting busy with temporary employment opportunities, benefiting from them? When do we see that? When do we see it? This year? Next year?
Well, there are some programs that are ongoing. There's a project, for example, called the Realize Project. That is ongoing. It's across the country. It may be at a minimum level, but a lot of these programs are operational. When we also begin to think that the youth component of our population is the most productive because of the strength and everything they go along with, then we'll start appreciating that we need to pay attention to them. For example, everything we do, how do we factor them in? I was at a program the other day, and I mentioned I would love to see that the cabinet will pass a policy that will say when people are retired, about 80% of the people recruited will be between the ages 18 and 35. Yes. Rather than go by and recruit 60-year-old people. Recruit people in that range. It will help reduce. And every ministry and agencies
not
now,
just any kind of young person
I'm
anyway.
talking about qualified people. The young people are very qualified. What are you talking? I was talking with the minister of health. I said, Minister, we want to do some capturing, some mapping up to find out how many youths currently are medical doctors. She said most of the medical doctors now are youth. What she said? Most of the medical doctors now are young people. So they got a lot of young people who are employable. In as much as most of them are unemployable, well, a lot of them are employable. So when they graduate and they get skills, you're doing recruitment after you retire people, look in that range. People in their 20s, 30s, early 30s, recruit them. One, they got longer lifespan with you. Two, when you're young, you bring a lot to the table because you're very productive in terms of your energy and you're sharp. As you age in, you only good now at the policy and adversarial roles. And so if that can happen, the pressure could also reduce on government. And I'm not talking just government, I'm talking about even the private sector people, the retiring people. Look at the young people between 18 and 35. Recruit them. The pressure needs to reduce. But the more they are seated, especially the ones that are qualified or that have skills, they're seated, they become idle and it's frustrating. So these are the kinds of initiatives. Everything we do now, we'll be doing at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, we'll make sure if it is a short-term employment, we create it for the young people. For example, you have a national counting meet. Let's work with Fly and Little, for example, to ensure that we recruit some of these young people who will either sell tickets or mind gates, and then you pay them to a contract with them, pay them at the end of the exercise. Some of these things, just temporary jobs. If we start thinking in that direction, the pressure will reduce.
Okay.
But we got the opportunity, and then we will sit on it. I'm not going to agree to county meet being squarely managed by only employees of the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and they get additional compensation. No.
Because they're taking their pay
No,
already.
they already
That they
taking
can complement the effort of the
I
other people.
don't have problem with that. But at least they look outside to see how we can bring people in a temporary job we created for people. The other thing about the county meet, and today we're having a major press conference. You're not going to tempt me into saying when it started.
So you don't want to.
We announced it today.
Okay.
We'll be announcing it today. But some of the things we want to do, the county meet has proven to be one of the single largest occasions where librarians are gathered in terms of entertainment. How can we work with the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism, especially the cultures, to see if they can also make use of that gathering to start showcasing our culture. The counties have cultural troops. Today, I'll be privileged to receive librarian cultural icon Fatu Gavela, because I got a call that she'll come and visit the Ministry of Youth and Sports today. But I'm just saying, for example, can we make sure that before the game starts, when the crowd is gathered,
Mhm.
you can have some cultural performances. You can even make it a competition where the counties
Yeah,
will
yeah, I mean,
compete.
this one country, for example, has
Yes,
this culture boot.
exactly.
You go there and buy your culture
That's
stuff,
it.
or you can
Or
even
you can do
the
a
food.
float.
Mhm.
Or you can do a float for them to even perform. You got judges who are judging them. The same way you'll be giving prizes to the winners of the sporting event, then you give prizes to the winners of the culture. On their own, they may not be able right now to draw that kind of crowd. So let them make use of it. Those are the kinds of collaboration we're talking about.
Yeah, Lofa County has this boot when you cook the
Don't
you
drag
go there.
me into local thing.
You know, I just saying. Anyway, that coincidence. Anyway, we look forward to the announcement when the county meet starts. But any news, any latest from the tomorrow's game, the Lone Star,
The
or you
team,
leave it with the LFA?
well, no, the Liberia Football Association is handling the technical aspect.
Mhm.
They have I mean, a good team, technical staff. You have a Romanian coach, Mario, and the rest of the staff. So I think two of the deputies, one is from Malawi, the other is from London, and
Mm.
another one from South Africa. Three. Then you have a local assistant coach, Kevin Sabo. The team is highly spirited. Prior to leaving, I was with them on their camp. And they promised me, Mr. Minister, we win when we get in Morocco. And I believe them because I saw that commitment from the young people, the local players here. They've shown total commitment.
It's
And
just
then
the
blending
philosophy
it,
of the coach.
who am I? That man is
No, but you are
specialized.
you are
Yeah, I'm a
football,
coach,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and true,
So
you're
yeah.
right.
Then when you see when you see something like tactician, you can know.
No, but I think he's good and he
Okay.
knows exactly what he wants to achieve
Mm.
based on what I see so far. And we'll try to give him all the support. They said it, they will win, especially blending this mostly local with the few outside players. And they won the game 2-0. Tomorrow, they have said to me, we'll win Djibouti. So we qualify out of the preliminary, get in the zonal stage. That's where the actual battle will be. We try to qualify from the zonal stage, and we are AFCOM next year.
Mm.
That is the commitment the coaches are giving us. And with the president of the Football Association, Mr. Raji, he says that is the mandate. And I think they are working in that direction. Serious minded coaches, serious minded coaches, serious minded players,
Mm.
very committed.
No, I admire
And
the fact
so,
that he's putting a lot of faith in the local.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh yes.
because it's become a norm when you cross the sea. Even if you go to Indonesia, countries where like bros global standing in football is even more, they call you professional. You come and you
Yeah.
know, and the
But,
local we
but
have good players.
no, no, we've got good players. Even the guys outside, they're not bad. They play. Most of
Mhm.
them are playing very well.
Yeah.
The few that blended with the local guys, they're very, really on course.
Yeah.
And so we're going to encourage them to do everything possible. Tomorrow, let's encourage Liberians to turn out.
Okay.
I'm adding mine to the many voices. Come out tomorrow at the SKD Sports Complex. Support the national team against Djibouti. Let's qualify the team.
Mm.
We will win Djibouti tomorrow. And I'm saying it because the coaches have said to me, we'll win. And so that is the major progress.
Yeah, let's take calls, a few calls. This morning I have the Minister of Youth and Sports, Councillor Jeror Bangalu. You can call me on 0770581886 or 0805140096. Let's hear from this person. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Good morning. Let me hear from this person. Good morning.
Good morning, people of Varflay.
Yeah, good morning.
And let me say good morning to Pastor Jeror. My name is Manu Daniel Jr. and I joined a conversation from this. I listened to Councilor Bangalu and I think these are people that will be into the central stage of our youth policies and programs pertaining to sport. All of this plan is coming for the implementation aspect of these policies that he has put of Youth and Sports should open up or page
Mhm.
that most of these programs that the Cllr program and the issue of the National Council Sport make, creating the opportunity for the young people to have some level of work to help them to not put the burden on the government. If we are online to go to our blessing. But we have found out that these programs have come out and all the ministry have been partial. The people who already have their people and they give the young people their children that they are going to have their pay. And so
Okay.
the issue of period.
Hello. Oh, sorry, we lost him. Let's hear from this person. Good morning. Hello. Sorry. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Hello. Sorry. Please call on 0. Let's hear from this person.
Hello.
Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning, I'm in my
Yeah, let's hear you. Let's hear you. But leave from the radio.
Yeah, I want to speak. Thank you, Councilor Cole. I want to be specific with some of the programs that you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, but go ahead.
I'm having some network issue.
Yeah.
Councilor Cole, thank you in studio this morning. My issue has to do with some of the programs that you've bring up. They have to be decentralized, mostly in rural areas. Like most of the coordinators they having, like the youth and school coordinators in our counties, cannot reach in all of the districts. So we want the minister to address some of the issues. Then there's need having district coordinators, then will be very good for us.
Okay. Thank you. We can take a call and go back to the minister. Good morning.
Bradley, and good morning to the Honorable Minister.
Yeah, go ahead. What's the name?
This is Chutomu Doting Jr., and I call you from Magibi County.
Yeah, go ahead.
This morning I listened to the minister, and I just want to congratulate him. And I'm very happy to hear from him and the wonderful plans he has for the young people of our nation. The minister said a lot this morning, but I just want to go straight to the point. To remind the minister in office that the previous government made a lot of commitments to improving the health and well-being of young people in Liberia. In September 5, 2023, the government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Youth and Sports, made a commitment to improve adolescent health and well-being. And particularly last year, the government committed to allocate in the national budget and to disperse annually 1 million in support of enhancing social cohesion through rehabilitation and empowerment of marginalized youth in Liberia. I would like for the minister to tell us this morning how his administration is going to ensure that commitments made by the previous administration for young people will be achieved. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Mr. Minister.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Hello. Let's hear from this last caller. Good morning.
Good morning, people of Varflay. Good morning to the important councilor of our town, Councilor Bangalu.
Yeah, go ahead quickly.
This is Alice Kuna speaking. Council, thank you very much. And I hear you talking, but I didn't hear you talking about the Sports Scout. The Sports Scout also honor youth and school. What are your plans towards the Sports Scout?
Okay, thank you very much. Minister, you just have to respond quickly to them.
All right, so the first caller talk about online information. The director of press is here with me, Mr. P. Brown. I think he took note of that. I'm sure that is something that can be worked on within an online platform. What is happening now is manual, and I agree. And I was in the meeting with the Linsu and the Flower people, and I told them that the cadet program and everything that will be happening, they would be part of it, and even the recruitment, they would be part of it. And so we're going to ensure that that will happen. And so the online thing here is something we're going to work on so that people can even do this application online, even though there are costs associated. Decentralization, let me tell you, commonly across the country, you have maybe one person in a whole county
as coordinator.
as well. You know, the structure is such that we're supposed to have a coordinator with the head, then a youth development officer, and a sports development officer.
Oh, okay.
In most of the country, or almost all, you only have one person. So that person now is a youth development. And the person, I mean, the caller is suggesting even decentralization at the district level. The cost implications. But that is a very good suggestion.
Okay.
Because if you could have district youth development officer and sports development officer, I believe it would be a good thing. And it's something that we can talk about. The adolescent health,
Yeah.
on adolescent girls also
Yeah,
stuff that you talk about.
Yeah.
I know there are programs there at the ministry that deals with the adolescent issues, commitment made
by
by previous governments. You know, I can say for sure that the Ministry of Youth and Sports is going to go beyond just commitment made by previous government. Because what these callers want to see is tangibles. You want to see that these things are really happening and will not just be on paper. And so I'm saying I don't want to be a minister who will just write documents and it just be on the shelf. I want the government to see this as part of the whole development process and put money into these programs so that they can be implementable. In the absence of that, Varflay will just come on ELBC and just talk. So I'm agreeing with him. Commitments were made, and perhaps they were not lived up to. We have a responsibility because all of these programs are really, really meaningful programs. So we need to put money into it. And so we'll be working again with the Ministry of Finance to ensure.
Boy Scout,
please come and see me today. Mr. Ellis Kona, please come and see me today. But you guys are very, very important. I know that for sure. You guys are very, very important. And so if you can come and see me today, let's have a conversation.
Okay. Well, Minister, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Varflay. Always going to be a pleasure coming here.
Thank you very much. Youth and Sports Minister, Councillor Bangalu, has been my guest this morning. Join me tomorrow for another presentation of the SMS. Bye-bye.